Hey, thanks for joining me today, April 18th, Tax Day 2023. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee and Nuance Show, and today I'm talking about influence. That's right. Something so important, yet so easily overlooked, the subtle and repetitive nature of real influence. Now, real influence, it's like the drip, drip, drip of a leaky faucet. It's so subtle that you don't even realize it's happening until you're up to your neck in water, or in my case, a jungle. Let's get serious for a second. The truth is, real influence isn't about making a big splash, creating a viral moment, and it's not a well-reasoned, logical presentation. No, it should be. But it's about the quiet, persistent nudges that shape our beliefs and behavior over time. It's like that annoying coworker who keeps repeating the same point in every meeting until finally becomes the group consensus. Or the way advertisers sneak their messages into our favorite TV shows and movies until we're brainwashed into buying their crap. Real influence, it's like water dripping on a stone. At first, it seems like nothing. Nothing's happening at all. But over time, the stone begins to erode and it changes shape. It's like the slow and steady march of time that we don't even notice until we look back and realize how much has changed. Let's not forget about politicians who use this subtle and repetitive influence to their advantage. They know that if they repeat the same lies over and over again, people will eventually start to believe them. It's like the old saying goes, if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes the truth, especially if you're on Twitter. But in conclusion, folks, real influence is a slow burn. It doesn't happen overnight, but over time. It shapes our thoughts and actions. So be aware of the subtle ways that influence can creep into your life. And remember, if you're not sure if someone is trying to influence you, just ask yourself, what would Tom Coffee do? My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. Hey, yes, I was thinking about this yesterday and this morning about influence and how often I don't change my mind because someone presents a well-reasoned, logical argument, and then I go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. No, it's usually the opposite of that. It's really just slow nudges, being around things that are happening. For example, if I'm thinking back to college, right? And how much the people around me had an influence. And now, at the time, if all of my buddies were 300 pounds and played video games all day and smoked pot, I would probably do the same thing. That would have an effect on me. Now, that wasn't the case. I was surrounded by a lot of really awesome people doing awesome things. And I wasn't. But they had an influence on me to do more. And looking back on that, I really appreciate that. And I didn't realize what an effect that the people around me had on myself and on my life. In many ways, it's like you can't just take a problem child. Right? I taught school. If a kid has a lot of problems and they don't have good influences on them, you can't just tell them, oh, this is how you should behave. This will make you a better person. No, it's the people around them all the time that are showing them a good influence. Over time, it affects their behavior. And you just can't come in and explain something away and get someone to change. It just doesn't work that way. It's all about putting yourself in a position. If you want to influence someone, you have to be around them a lot. You know, that's how it works. You know, I even thinking back to rom-coms, right? one of the standard things that we see in rom-coms is, you know, some really attractive girl, and the guy, she's not into it first, but he's just around her so much that she gets to know him. He's got some influence, and all of a sudden at the end they get together and everyone's happy. You know, the reason that works is that's kind of what it works in life. You know, parents have such an influence on their kids, or they can have some, because they're around them so much and they can shape and guide them. Doesn't always work, but yeah. And, you know, even thinking about in the media, how much the media can influence people. You know, we heard for so many years about how bad somebody with orange hair was, right? We heard that over and over and over again. And when you hear something 10,000 times, a lot of people will just buy into it, right? They're like, well, this is all I hear, so it's got to be the truth. We heard that about Russiagate. Turns out that was BS. But to this day, there are people that think that it was real. Yeah. And it's because of just the repeated over and over drip, drip, drip. It definitely has an influence. As a side note, I was wondering if you've watched the channel for a long time, has anything that I've said to you have any influence at all? I don't know if it has or not. I will tell you that the audience that I have has had an influence on me. Yeah. It's the constant feedback that I get from the audience in the comments that's kind of affected how I have chosen to shape the show. And not only that, kind of give me a better outlook on things. You know, often I'm in a bubble here in Portland, and I think that everybody is super woke and all of that. And I know that that's not true. There's a lot of it here, you know, but just being able to get feedback from people from different perspectives kind of reminds me that what I hear about society in the media is not necessarily what it is. So I just wanted to thank you for that. We got a good show for you today. Just got a couple stories that I'm going to run through, and an update on something that I think you'll find fun. And of course, I'm going to end it with some good news. But first, let's get to a little tech news. All right. Google is said to be in shock after Samsung considered switching from Google search to Bing. Google reportedly pays up to $3.5 billion a year to be the default search engine on Samsung phones. Though it's unclear if Samsung will opt for Bing, the situation could be a negotiating tactic on the part of Samsung, as it and Microsoft already have existing pre-installed deals. Meanwhile, an article in the New York Times has given details on Google's Magi project, which seeks to develop a more conversational predictive search engine that can still incorporate ads. Now, getting back to influence, right? How much of an influence does Google have on us? Wow, a whole lot. You know, we even think, yeah, just Google it, right? Search for it. And we know that Google chooses what they choose to show you and what they don't choose to show you. But because we rely on them, they're around us all the time. They're in our phone. They're giving us the answers when we ask Google questions. It really does have a lot more influence than you may think. And it looks like they're running a little scared that, boy, if they can't get their Google phones onto Samsung, Next thing you know, some other mega corporation is going to influence you, and they don't want that, do they? Oh, but there may be an antidote for some of the AI that we've had, and I'll tell you about that next. Elon Musk has revealed his plans to create an AI company called TruthGPT that aims to challenge OpenAI and Google. He hopes to create a maximum truth-seeking AI that does more good than harm. Musk acknowledged that he's starting with a significant disadvantage as he's starting late. He's also teased an upcoming feature for Twitter that will allow users to encrypt their direct messages. Encrypted direct messages have been rumored for years, and Musk had previously said that Twitter should offer Signal-style encryption. Now, Signal is a messaging app that offers end-to-end encryption. This coming off the news that I reported on yesterday that the feds had access to all the direct messages on Twitter. So that's that's a little scary. Now, what's interesting, and this is something to think about, did you get that perspective in the places that you get your news? And if you didn't, why aren't they telling you that? I think that's important, very important news, and that's why I brought it up. But this is interesting with the idea of TruthGPT, of wanting truth to be the focus. Now, a lot of times when we use the word truth, it does remind me that that was the name of Russia's paper, right? The Soviet paper back in the day, Pravda, right? Truth. So it's just kind of funny to think about that. But I've noticed using OpenAI, ChatGPT, and I've used the Bing AI as well, that it is definitely censored, and it definitely does not talk about certain subjects that you want answers to. In fact, Bing keeps saying, oh, that we've determined that your search is forbidden or prohibited, and if you continue to search for that term, we will suspend your account. Yeah. Don't have the wrong think on Bing. If you have the wrong think and you're entering it into the chat, you're done. They will suspend your account. I had a friend that had his Bing account suspended, and he told me why. It's actually kind of funny. He was trying to make, this is for the image search, for the image thing, he was trying to make himself as a baby at turntables, right? So he was trying to take an image of himself, make him really, really, really young, and then be in front of turntables mixing music. And apparently, that set off alarm bells. You're not supposed to do any kind of image manipulation that involves children, I guess, is what happened. And he got kicked off for that. Kind of funny. I understand what he was trying to do. But that was funny. But I welcome this. It seems like Elon Musk is in the news every other day or every day, it seems. But it's because he's doing something interesting. If there were someone else doing something interesting that was challenging the system, I'd be talking about that too. And if you know about these things, you can send me a message. You can post in the Discord. Send me something on Twitter. But the reason that I'm talking about Elon Musk so often is He's actually doing stuff. So that's why. But next, I got to tell you about what's happening in Portland. REI's flagship store in Portland's Pearl District will be permanently closing in early 2024 due to increased crime, safety concerns, and issues with the building. Last year, the store had its highest number of break-ins and thefts in 2 decades, despite adding extra security. Residents in the area expressed disappointment at the closure, with many feeling unsafe in the city. The closest REI locations to downtown Portland are 12 to 15 miles away. So this is just happening. Every time I go downtown Portland, more and more things are closed. And even out by me, out in the suburbs, more and more businesses are just closing up. Having, fencing hurricane fencing put around the entire parking lot just to keep people out. One of them, the Kmart, closed a couple of years over pandemic, I think, and now it's just one huge graffiti place for graffiti. Graffiti is all over it, but so many commercial and businesses are closing. But REI was, this has been down there for, REI has been in Portland as long as I've been here. The Pearl District in Portland is a very nice, trendy, upscale neighborhood with a lot of condos and expensive apartments. And I think I looked up where my sister was she lives there. She lives so close that I couldn't even get an estimate to the I think it's 0.2 miles or something from where the REI is. But so many places have been closing up because of crime, break-ins, all this stuff, that it's just not worth it for these companies. They're losing money and they can't stick around. People are fleeing cities. And I don't think this is a good trend. Do you? Because when the nice places flee, when the money flees, things get worse. It's like the opposite of gentrification. I don't even know what you would call that, but not a good trend. But because it keeps happening over and over again, this is a place that I know very well. So yeah, the trend continues. Now I want to give you an update about a story that I had from Good News not too long ago. I don't know if you remembered, but last week, the week before, I talked about these all-terrain wheelchairs. And I think this story was in, was it Kentucky? I think something, Georgia, maybe, where they had a number of these that people could borrow to explore and go on hikes and whatnot. Well, we got some here in Oregon now as well. All-terrain chairs will be available at the Manzanita Visitor Center and Seaside Elks on the Oregon coast from May, allowing mobility-challenged park visitors to explore nature beyond the pavement. The chairs are particularly popular for use on the beach. Over the next few years, they plan to host 10 chairs along the Oregon coast and the I-5 corridor. So this is just a quick little update about this. And it's one of those things that when you see one thing that you hadn't seen forever, all of a sudden you just see more and more and more stories about it. I think this is called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. I think I did a video about this years ago. But it's like when you buy a car and all of a sudden you start seeing the car that you bought, that model, all around town and you hadn't noticed it before. And so in this case for me, I was really interested in these all-terrain wheelchairs. And all of a sudden I start seeing a lot more about all-terrain wheelchairs all of a sudden. But I think this is great. And what I'd really like to hear about sometime is if someone that watches this show is able to use one of these all-terrain wheelchairs, you know, to go on the beach, to go by a waterfall, to go through a park that you weren't able to go through before. I'd really like to hear about it. And that's why I bring this up, because we all know someone in our life that this could be useful to. And so, yeah, tell them about this. But lastly, let's get to some good news about dad jokes. You're kidding, right? No. New research suggests that dad jokes can have a positive impact on children's physical and cognitive development. According to the British Psychological Society, dad jokes teach children that awkwardness is survivable and that authenticity is valuable, even in the face of social pressure. By telling these jokes, fathers demonstrate the value of using one's voice and emerging with confidence. Additionally, the moments of awkwardness that accompany dad jokes toughen up children who are exposed to them. The article recommends that fathers keep telling these jokes, as their input does have an impact on their children. Now, I'd never heard this before. It does make sense to me. And this is, again, some subtle influence that you can have. This is subtle influence that you can have for kids. Dad jokes will really help with that idea of that awkwardness is okay. I'd never thought about that before, but that's cool. Do you have a favorite dad joke? You know, I didn't know the term dad joke is that's come about in the last couple of years. It just used to be a bad joke, I think is what they used to be called. But there are some that are considered bad jokes or dad jokes that I have used forever, so long. And it's one of the funny things about dad jokes, if you will, is if you keep making the same joke over and over again, in the beginning, haha, and then after a little while, it's lame, it's annoying, it's awkward. But then the 17th time you tell it, it becomes funny again. Have you ever recognized that trend? I've recognized that trend. And there's some things that I say all the time, and they're terrible. They're terrible. Well, you know, did you get a haircut? Yes, I got them all cut. I don't know how many times I've said that. And the other one is when someone says, oh, is today Tuesday? I say all day. My friend Kevin used to say this in high school, and I've been saying it ever since. I think that's a dad joke. It is awkward. But I guess I embrace awkwardness. I think it's kind of fun. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a yard worker next door, and I guess it is, I guess it's maintenance day. It's weed whacker day over in my neighborhood. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Stick around the after show. I'll go through your comments. And, yeah, that's all I got. But I appreciate you. And I will be back tomorrow on Wednesday with a big idea, psychological idea to think about. And until then, peace. All right, it's the after show. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. Get some chat up here. Look at all that chat. But let's see if I can refresh the Rumble chat. What is happening? Why is it not refreshing? Oh, it has. There's just not a whole lot of chat over there. So just a reminder, if you really want your chat to appear bigger on the screen, go over to Rumble. And I'll be sure to make it bigger over there. Anyway, yeah, this weed whacker is literally 20 feet behind me. The last resident here is gone, and so I think the owners had someone come over to do some work. I could count on the last people that lived here didn't do any yard work, so I never had to deal with the weed whacker. All right, but over on Rumble, this stream could use some likes. Hint, hint. Thank you. Doug says I haven't. It hasn't started yet. How do I know if I'll like it? That's true. And then Douggo said he smashed the like button. So thanks. I appreciate everyone smashing that like button. Right? That's the term. Smash the like button. But let me check out chat on YouTube. Hey, everyone. Lots of people checking in. Lucid Moment says, I'm doing Red Bull and Nuance today. Very nice. Everyone's checking in, which is cool. I like all the emojis in the chat. I don't know, as a grown man, right? I like emojis for whatever reason. Natasha says, I really like Jordan Peterson and his influence on young people. He's a very smart man. Jordan chokes up sometimes. It's quite endearing. Yeah, it is. You know, a lot of times, if we're not secure enough, we don't, you know, if someone's being real, it makes us feel uncomfortable. But at a certain point, seeing people uncomfortable is okay. It's not a big deal. But I'll have to see next time if they can choose not to weed whack at noon. That's because it's really loud. Let's see. Orange Man Bad. That's an example of some influence that was done over and over again. Safe and effective. All very good. We're all in this together. Oh, you guys, y'all know. Y'all can see it. The new normal. There, that was something that was repeated. That's one thing to be aware of when you hear something over and over and over again. Think about exactly what they're trying to say. Feedback is a more positive way of looking at it. Yeah, I agree. Nice Google cuffs. Yeah, I lifted that image for my own use. When I think I know something here at the house, I tell everyone, Google it. Ask the Google gods. I say Google also. It really has taken over. It's one of those things. It's like, now we don't use it as much today. Now we'll say tissue. But I remember growing up, it was a Kleenex. That's what it was. It was a Kleenex. It wasn't a tissue. And there's lots of examples of that. Xerox, back when we made photocopies, just Xerox it. That's when you know you've really taken over an industry. Chat and TruthGPT battle of the bots. Bing, brother, nice. I want to learn how to make to make something, but I'm afraid to search for it. It's tricky. Get a VPN, search anonymously, search from a coffee shop, you know. I use DuckDuckGo also. You know, I liked DuckDuckGo. I really did. However, their president or CEO really said something ridiculous about over the lockdowns that I really disagreed with. Now, it's funny, I don't remember specifically what it was, and I'm sure someone will remind me. But it was like anti-free speech or something to that effect. So much so that I was like, I'm not using DuckDuckGo anymore. Brave is a browser, and they have a search engine, and they claim that they don't track you at all. And I have tried them, and I have them on one of my computers here that I use for search, and I think it's a pretty good search. So you can check out Brave as well. Of course, me saying that will hide this video even more with the Google overlords, right? REI is an awesome place to walk through. It is one of the nice things that I always liked about REI. Yes, they do have a climbing wall there, and they have some good sales on some of their used gear, and you can check things out. You know, you don't necessarily have to buy something, and you know, you can rent things there as well. You know, like snowshoes or something. You're not going to use snowshoes year round, probably. You go once every couple of years or something like that. You can. That was a good place to rent from. I tried to get on Discord. Too difficult, but thanks. All new things are tricky in the beginning, and like I say, you know, it's subtle. Like over time, you get into things like influence, but also on using different things. Thumbs up on YouTube and Rumble. Up on Rumble. Nice, thank you. Georgia. That's where the ATV vehicles, wheelchairs were. Georgia. Thank you, Jesse, for that. Listening while working is the Erie Ferry. Well, have fun. I hope you're having fun working. I wonder if the ATV wheelchairs could handle steep trails in woods on hills, asks Miranda. I've seen some videos of these all-terrain wheelchairs. Now, there are different ones, but the ones that have like tank treads, those look like they could go anywhere. Now, obviously, if you are relying on that, I would, I probably wouldn't take it out by myself. I would go with someone that was, you know, more able-bodied, just in case there was an issue and you got stuck somewhere, they could help you get out. But I think that this is a really, really cool thing. I am definitely gonna see if it at least next time I go to the Oregon coast, I'm gonna drop by and see if at least where they check them out from, just so that maybe they can let me try it out in the parking lot just to see what it's like. Because I think this is really exciting, and I think about some of the older people in my life. I know that they would really appreciate this service. So that's why I keep bringing it up, because I want someone to use it and enjoy it. Dad jokes. Let's see. It says, AT wheelchair is really cool. I'd like to drive to town I'm in and go through the drive-through. Yeah, that's cool. You know, I've seen a lot of times in Florida where there's communities set up where you have where people have golf carts, like the golf vehicles. What are they called? You can tell I'm not a golfer. The little electric golf cars. But those are fun. It reminds me when I lived in Seychelles, there was a company, Mini, right? The Aston Martin Mini, but they would make it called the Mini Moke, and it was like a slightly larger golf vehicle, but people had them as cars. They were great for riding around, and you could drive them on the beach. Fantastic vehicle. I'd feel a little unsafe driving them on the streets of Portland with so many huge trucks and SUVs and things like that. You just get crushed. But I think that we really need to be open to new forms of transportation. And I think these all-terrain wheelchairs are really, really cool. Good dad joke for guys is to answer, are you growing a beard? With, yes, but I keep shaving it off. Really is another one, Tom. Okay, I'm not sure. There's nothing subtle about being a parent or a dad. That's true, but I just mean over time you can have an influence. I'm afraid of the calendar. Its days are numbered. Invasive aliens in Doctor Who. Okay, nice, calm show today in the comments. Yes. I don't hear any weed whacker. Well, that's good. I can hear it. But, you know, I got a microphone. I particularly chose this microphone. It's the same model that like Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh and, you know, a lot of broadcasters use this. Specifically because it's supposed to only take sound from this area. This is like a broadcast microphone. So you will often see this model in radio stations. And that's why I chose that. So it's good to know that even though there's a lot of sound outside my house, that you can't hear that. I did turn off one of the blue purple par light behind me because it was one of the fans in it was making noise. I'll try to get that fixed. These are not the droids, but there are living aliens inside. I gently tapped it. Okay, let's go, Brandon. Yeah, that is something that is repetitive and does have an influence. Let's see. Yeah, speaking of the South, I guess technically, I guess I'm from Gulfport, Mississippi. But I wasn't there very long. But I guess I can still claim, I can claim the South if I wanted to. But I don't ever remember being there. Yeah, my shirt glows, but where's the blue light behind you? Yeah, I had to turn off the light. Here, I'll turn it on just to see if... Can you hear that? Can you hear the whir? All of a sudden, one of the cooling fans for the blue light just started making noise, so that's why I turned it off. But I'll open it up and shoot it with some WD-40 and hopefully got it fixed for tomorrow. Anyway, DuckDuckGo CEO, this is over on Rumble, Duggo is letting me know. CEOs said they're pro-privacy, not anti-censorship, after they were caught de-ranking certain results when looking up Russia-Ukraine. That's what it was. That's what it was. They were changing results based on politics, and I'm not a fan of that at all. So thank you for reminding me what it was, Duggo. I appreciate that. You know, it'd be great if I could just, if I had questions, I could just turn on my show and ask y'all. We could crowdsource things. Were you a military brat, Tom? No, I was not. Yes, we can hear it. Oh, you can hear the whir of the blue light. So I'll get that fixed. Thanks for telling me, though. I appreciate that. Whirl. Yes, indeed. Not a military brat. Fortunately, I had parents that did well enough that my father said that he was in the military, but he did so that I wouldn't have to, and hopefully no one after him would have to serve in the military. That's I do appreciate those people that do serve. I don't think I would be well suited for it. I'm a bit too much of a contrarian, or and I have some some other issues. I think the conformity of military service, I don't think I would do especially well. But no, I did not grow up there. Although my folks were there to take care of the Hurricane Camille in the 60s. There was a big hurricane that hit the coast there, and my folks were there assisting with the recovery effort. And so that's why I am technically from Gulfport, right? Anyway, I had a little overshare today, right? Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for your comments, everyone. And yeah, tomorrow I will be back with a big idea. I'm going to try to find another interesting psychological thing that you might not have thought about. So I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Peace.